I guess since we're on the subject, I guess I guess talk about my first my first interaction with pinball. I was a little kid. I think it was the late '70s. Um, we were at it was a elementary school field trip. I was at a roller rink, Cheapskate, I think it was called. Um, back then, I'm kind of like Calvin. I don't care for sports, anything physical, baseball, um, baseball, football, hockey, etc., including roller skating. I don't care for that. My thing was video games. At up until this point, it was just video games, Atari 2600, um, arcade games at the arcade, that kind of thing. Uh, I didn't really. There was pinball around that time. At that time, I looked at them and it's like, wow, they look really cool, but I didn't really play them. It wasn't until it wasn't until my field trip that I didn't roller skate with all the other kids. I don't care for it. So I just spent the whole time checking out video games and looking at the pinball ones. Walked up to one roller disco. First, took one look at the back glass, and the first thing I'm like, wow, they got big boobies. But there began my love of pinball. Um, and as a really good added bonus, I don't know where I got the quarter from or how I managed to play it, but yeah, it just started up, plunged the ball and just I, I'm trying to rack my memory here. I mean, it was back in the late '70s, so quite a while ago. But I think it's just hitting the flippers and trying to keep the ball in play and like that. It just basically love at first play. So, but on the downside, I probably had it rougher than a lot of others. I was the only person in my family that liked pinball. Um, Out of all the people I knew in school, I think I was the only kid. I think at that time, that to my knowledge, I was the only kid in school that liked pinball. I mean, most they all get into like kid stuff. Hanging out with friends, that kind of just anything but they hang out doing. I didn't see any like kids around my age at my school playing pinball. Again, I was the only one doing it, so yeah. But throughout the years, teenage years, hanging out in arcades. It's in my Twitch bio. Hanging out in arcades, laundromats, convenience stores, till eventually I get kicked out for loitering. Again, just hanging out, hanging out with the pinball machines and video games. So later, play more and more of them. But again, throughout this whole entire time, I'm the only person I know who plays pinball. So, kind of, kind of a rough pinball childhood, I guess if you want to call it that. Yep. Yeah. You're another rare one. 78. Yeah, I'm 72 here. So. Yeah. Private help to clarify. Wow, Joe, you don't look a day over 40. Yeah. 1972 here. So. But yeah, as far as I guess as far as these days, um, and there's only like one pinball arcade by where I live, and it's like 20 miles away. All the tables are expensive, and not to mention they're not all maintained either. So I don't really have any real life tables around me. Even looking on Pinside, it's some places have them, but they're some combination of only having like one or two tables, and they're they're privately owned, or they're from like small businesses. And if I just walked into that shop to play their pinball table, they'd probably be suspicious. That kind of thing. But yeah, throughout back then, pretty much all the way up until now, um, I'm pretty much the only person I know that's into them. Most everybody else I know would probably say they're random. Um, my first impulse would be TX sector. It's my favorite one. But aside from that, I would probably maybe like a starter table. One of the old classic ones. You know, Eldorado would come to mind. Big Shot. I would really want to get Central Park, but I have a feeling that I'd have to do a lot of repair work on that table because if you um if you know that table, nudging is required on that sucker. So a lot of shaking, a lot of nudging, a lot of smacking the sides of the table. Because that is a good chunk of the gameplay on that. Yeah, that's what I mean. But it would have to be like an old classic table. I mean, sure as hell nothing like modern day like Wizard of Oz or Primus, something with the big old fucking TV screen, the back glass, and all the complicated toys and ramps and all the computer shit. Yeah, that's gonna be too much for somebody like myself that works part time at Walmart, lives in an apartment. So I mean, for something like that, it'd be best to just start with like something simple. And that as well. I would think the classic tables are also a lot cheaper. I'm pretty sure these modern day ones would probably cost in the vicinity of $10,000. I mean, there's like a shit ton of electronics in them. Again, not to mention all the extra doodads they actually have on the table, which I think I have a hard for new people that have never played pinball or only have like a passing familiarity with it. These would not be the tables I'd show them. I think I saw that. There was a part of a gameplay video of it. Oh god, it's serious nostalgia. On the downside, though, it wore thin. Yeah, I got about part way in, and it just it, my whole interest just kind of took a nosedive. I don't hate the table, but yeah, it just I'm not there anymore. I think that's what I want to say. But yeah, but again, I mean, if you're not if you don't know much about pinball, I these modern tables, they're the I wouldn't they wouldn't be the first ones I'd be showing them. I'd be showing them the old stuff first. You know, I guess like the old saying goes, you got to learn on the acoustic before you play on the electric, something like that. That's how I'd be with pinball. I'd want to show them like an old one first, one that's not complicated. But yeah, to kind of sum up my story though, um, I grew up with pinball since the mid to late '70s. I've always been into it in some form, in some fashion, all the way up until present day. And on top of that, I'm the only one I know. Nobody in my family plays them. Um, none of my classmates played them. None of the none of my coworkers play them. Um, I might have maybe maybe the night manager at my job. I have a small feeling he might be into them, but I think all the other coworkers I know, I'd probably mention it and then pinball is random. Oh, well we had an Adams family table, but I don't like pinball. Oh, that kind of thing. So Yeah, I'd enjoy hopping into tournaments too. If they didn't have obscenely high scores that make me cry foul, you know. If you ever see my stream vid on the early part of me going over my tournaments that I did, yeah, a few cheaters among us, unless they have videos for it.